So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sitting here today with a brother of mine. His name is Thendo Tshivhengwa. We met each other at UWC. He, at that point, was a disillusioned young young man. No, I'm joking. He's very mature for his age, um, and he's a phenomenal dude. So today's conversation is not going to be a long one. It's not the normal hour one, but I want to take some time and just talk about the entrepreneurship journey because he has a very interesting entrepreneurship journey. Um, he worked for one of the top five companies, law firms in South Africa, and then one day he decided, "Fuck it, I'm done."
Can you
He
say fuck it
quit.
on camera?
Yes, I can. He said, "Fuck it, I'm done. I'm out," and he started his own entrepreneurial venture. So let's start with that specific question, Tendo. Why, why the move from a full-time, great-paying job, permanent job, to the entrepreneurship journey?
Thank you, Jacob. you know, I don't think it's about, for me it wasn't about the great income or the full-time and whatever it is. I always dislike the idea of getting somebody else's dream work and not mine work. You sit in the office, you've got these big deals, you talk about millions and millions of rand, and then you can't even count how many zeros are there, but it has nothing to do with you. So the idea is that I like the art of negotiation, I like making the deal work, and I wanted to make my own deal work so that I can get a bit of the upside. So I think that's how the curiosity started, to see what else can I do, not only to earn more, but to do what I enjoy, to negotiate, to talk to people, to figure out what's next, to charter my own path in a way. So that's how it basically started. And I think I grew up in a family where entrepreneurship was actually not frowned upon. Funny enough, also education was highly encouraged. So you had to study, you had to get a degree. Also, if you want to, we were encouraged to be entrepreneurs. And that's what I ended up deciding to do. But yeah.
But you see, I'm so intimately, or I know your journey so intimately. So while you were working at this particular law firm, and I'm not going to give them free marketing on this thing, you started at the old biscuit mill in Cape Town. So,
No.
And it's important journey because you started there, and from then the shift happened.
So actually, how it started is that we started with Nutaria, what I now run as Nutaria, but then it had a different name back then. So I was doing it as a trading company. Basically, I was brokering deals and transactions. I was doing that whilst I was at work. So I used to get people with the product that somebody else wants. I call the guy and say, "You want the product?" He tells me the price, and then I tell the seller the price, and then basically I make the deal work in between, and I get my margin, and then I pay the owner of the product after. So that's how the idea started. So I was doing that part-time. Most people don't know this because it was something that I did on my laptop. Somebody called me, "Do an invoice now of 10,000 rand." I do an invoice quickly. I get paid 10, I pay over 9,000 to the owner of the product, I pocket 1,000 rand. And that's how it started. So when I get to the old biscuit mill, it was one of my, other business ventures where I found a partner who decided to start selling food. And that's how it came about. So we said, "Oh, let's sell chicken." We want to sell chicken wings. And from there, we want to establish a brand. From establishing a brand, we try to find different markets in which we can offer the products too. So far, I don't want to say that that's one of my failed businesses, but that's one of the businesses that I'm not currently doing at the moment. But it's not something that I can say that I'll never get to do again, or I won't start over. But for now, it's a business that it didn't work out as good as we were planning that it would work out.
Yes, and I'm glad you're saying is that it's not failed. We can start at any place at any time. It's such a great concept, and if I was the thief that I was supposed to be, I would have actually stole the idea. But I'm not gonna steal your idea, but you had a great inspirational person in your life. It's your mom, and I remember we invited you one day to the peer mentoring program to have a talk.
Yes.
And in that talk, you specifically focused on your mom. Please tell us about the role that your mom played in your life.
So, my mother was an entrepreneur of the house. She's the one that she sold basically everything, from cold drink to clothes to wood to vegetables to fruits, you name it, she sold it. The only thing that she never sold is alcohols and cigarettes, and of course narcotics and whatever. Otherwise, she would have been like El Chapo. But it wasn't in a wheelhouse to do that. But she sold whatever that there is. So whatever she thinks about, she can make a profit, she sold. And that's the inspiration. Like, she just did it. I don't know how, I don't know why. Maybe some made little money, some made no money at all, but she just keep on moving forward so that she finds something that's selling, she sells it, she gets the markup in between, and then you move on to the next thing. So when growing up, what we used to do on school holidays when other kids are playing, wearing, hanging out in town, whatever it is, we used to be selling tomatoes in the streets, onions in the street. You learn to drive early in my house, and then when you learn to drive, you'll be driving a bakkie there, hooting, beep, 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 screaming, tomatoes, this much. That's what we did. That's how holiday looked like. And we're all used to it, and we all did that. And then we all buy the stock from the farms, we all interacted with the business, we all were involved in all the levels of it. So it wasn't as much as foreign, it felt more normal than practicing law. Like in my terms, it felt like something that I was supposed to do, something that I could do and I could achieve. So that's how I get it. I was a bit scared of security, but that fear of lack of security didn't last quite long. It became like, you know what, well, I can do it. You could be as broke and left with your last rand, but even today I still believe that, the better is yet to come. Maybe it's a blessing or a curse, I don't know, but the idea of being scared of implementing the ideas that I have it's very low, because once I believe in it and once I'm convinced that it's going to work, I must try to make it work. If I'm not that into it, then I'll procrastinate a lot and figure out, maybe I should start. Then you'll see me dilly-dallying a lot about the idea. But if I'm sold, you'll say, let's go to Malawi now, which is one of the places where we work from. I'll say, I'll go grab my bag, let's go. Because I believe in what you're trying to build. I believe in the strategy that we are putting in place in Malawi, we are putting in place in Kenya, we are putting in place in South Africa. I believe that that's what we're supposed to do. Is because the core difference with our businesses is to put people first, is to employ as many people as we need. Like on our Nutaria business now, our supplier database, we have more than 300 households. You find that women and children and families and children head in a household, or teenagers, not necessarily children. They bring the products there to us, we teach them how to handle it, we teach them how to do it, and then they bring it to us to have an extra income. So the impact is massive. A few months ago, when I was in Malawi setting up our corporations there, the amount of people that came to do the work, you see crowds and crowds and crowds of people, that because they want employment, they want meaningful result in their job. So anyway, I can go on and on about what we do and how we do it, but the bottom line is that once you have the conviction of what you want to do and what you want to achieve, everything else, I think it becomes secondary, sometimes to the sacrifice of your own self and your own ambitions and your own objectives.
Now here's the important question is when did it click for you? Because at one point, one morning or one day, you must have woke up. It's like, this is what I'm going to do. And it's a tough decision. You have to tell a family, you have to tell a lot of people, there's certain things you have to let go. So when did that click set in?
So I can tell you now, I made a decision with my partner. We decided that she was like, no, just do it, man. You have nothing to lose. If or else, at least you know that we have done it. And then that's what I appreciate about it. But from that point, once I've decided, I made a decision and I wake up and say, listen, screw this, I'm gonna do it now. And it took me for a long time to tell my dad, because I told him, listen, you know what, I lost my job, my contract didn't get renewed. And at this side, I had companies that were calling me, come for an interview, come do this. And I just said, no. I spent probably like a year, still companies that says, if you want a position, if you want this, from the place where I worked, I talked to certain people that still wanted me there. But for my dad, I keep telling him that I'm not being hired. He even tell my brother, can you not do something for your brother to get a job? But it's because to him, he's an educator by profession. So to him, he prioritizes more of the education side. For my mom, it's more of the entrepreneurial side. So hence I said, to me, both worlds were represented. So he kept telling me, he found a job now, Probably after 6 months, I told him that, listen, I'm just going to do this full time. But I already decided by then, it already clicked that, I have nothing to lose. Because, what else is there that I can do? And I started to enjoy it so much and like the level that I was doing it so much that it was, even today, I don't think there's something that can stop me from doing it.
I must say your journey inspired mine because I remember...
You're welcome.
You'll never change, Thendo. You're welcome, Nofas.
I can't wait for my royalties.
So, here's the interesting thing. That last talk that you did for PMP, you said one thing that stayed for me for the rest of my life, and it's going to stay. Like, out of 1,000 no's, you only need 1 yes.
Yes, that's it.
And that's my aim. My aim for this particular company of mine, Abrasive Media, but especially the target that I put for Abrasive Conversation is 1,000 interviews. And I did 1,000 interviews.
And you only need one?
I only need one.
Yeah.
But I put that because that is the limit that you said. It's like you cannot say no, you cannot be discouraged after 20.
Yeah.
After 20 no's. There's so much more.
Yes.
And you're constantly saying is that the best deal is still out there. And I believe for all of us, if we're brave enough and we follow that passion, then the best deal is still out there.
Yeah.
So let's just quickly change shift the tension to you as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Because currently you have a massive responsibility.
Yes.
I've been at your warehouse now, and I could see you are employing people. You are paying salaries. You literally have people's lives in their hands.
Yeah.
So talk about a little bit about that, more of that part of the responsibilities of entrepreneurship, especially when you start employing people. How do you deal with it, and how do you approach it?
So let me touch on the no aspect of it all. Maybe I don't want to get too philosophical here, but you see, the first no is the most painful of them all. Just that one. The first one. It's like if you are approaching a girl, she says no today, you go tomorrow, she says no. The one that will hurt the most is the first one. All right. So, from that point onwards, you get a bit of resistance within you that what the worst that can happen, right? So I keep a database of people that I call offering them business, right? Out of all those people that I know that they use the product that we sell, macadamia or nuts or peanuts, it should be almost 1,000 right now. People that I get business from are less than a handful, probably 3 from 1,000, right? Percentage-wise, you can tell 0.0 what, But the idea therefore is that all those people every year I contact them again, one at a time, all over again, as if we never spoke again. I like, listen, following up to the email that we've spoken about, how about here, how about this, how about that, whatever it is. But the persistence and the nature of things that you employ in order to achieve what you want to do, it needs to be there. You need to be. I'm not the most consistent guy ever, but every year between January and March, I call all of them, whether or not they are in Belarus, whether or not they are in Ukraine, whether or not they are in Russia, whether or not they are in US, wherever in the world that they are. I pick up the phone, my cell phone. If I know that this month I've got a budget to call 100, I'll call 100. If this month I've got a budget to call 5, I'll call 5. If I send an email, I'll send emails. But you need to keep being persistent and being visible within the industry that you are in. You might not do it to your best, but do it to the capabilities that you think that will achieve something and will reach a certain crowd that you want to. People must not forget that there's a Jacob out there. You might not like the current documentary or the current product. Doesn't mean that you won't like it tomorrow. Doesn't mean that your needs won't arise the next day. But anyway, that's just my thinking about no's. So it is what it is. It will always be there. There's never 100% yeses, but there can be 100% no's. Now, it took me a very long time to employ people, at least on a permanent basis. It's because the responsibility and the liability that comes with it is quite high, because you are caring for families, you are caring for people, you have a certain responsibility towards not only the employee, but their children, their interests, their school fees, their everything that they are looking up to. I can always say that for me, the worst times of the month, it's month end. The worst time of the week, it's weekends, because that's the only time that one I have to pay money, and the other one there's no potential of any money coming in. You see, through that process of employing people, I think it gave me not only a bit of pride, but I think you started to plan more, not only for yourself, and the idea of quitting. The idea of saying, oh, I give up, it's not gonna work. It becomes very, very dangerous and non-existent, because it's not only about you. Even if you know in my pocket I've managed to last me 3 months or a month or a week, you begin to think, okay, fine. For the 5 employees or 10 employees that I have, what then is going to happen? For the 100 suppliers that supply me, where are they going to send their product? It's because we live in a space where people buy from same companies for 100 years, 50 years, especially in South Africa. If you investigate some of the relationships that I won't mention here, you ask, when did you start procuring from that company? You ask the supermarkets that are here, they will tell you, oh, we started in 1978, we started in 1965, we started from day one, back then in apartheid era. And then you ask yourself, how is the entrepreneur supposed to compete against that? One company even told me that, listen, we are not going to change because we have invested a lot in our supplier. And then you ask yourself, okay, what does that mean? Or like, okay, we started a relationship long term, we've invested in our systems and whatever. So which means that the development of the space of entrepreneurs is shrinking by the minute. It's because one guy is having a contract of 1 billion. It's not 10 guys that are sharing 100 million each, or 20, 50, you know what I mean? We're not distributing the wealth. We are saying Jacob owns all the nuts and dried fruits in this space, and only him can sell to us. What does that do to the new entrepreneurs that are coming? What does that do to the new relationships? This is why you find mostly black entrepreneurs defaulting in doing business with the government, because that's the only place where there's quotas. That's the only place where he says, listen, no. You have been through this space, you're a billionaire now. We are doing so much money. Why can't we slice 10% of it to feed this person? Why can't we feed 20% there, 3% there, whatever it is, so that we distribute not even all of it, some of it, so that the wealth, it moves, it trickles down. Like our impact now, you speak about employees. I don't like to hire more employees. I like to get more suppliers. Why is that? It's because the more suppliers I get, the more I'm having smaller little independent businesses built under me. If I've got 300 suppliers, it means that I've got 300 businesses that are operating under me. They'll have to buy their own stock. They'll have to go process it. They'll have to do this and that through the process. In the end of the day, at the end of the day, those people know how to pay their own employees and whatever it is and blah, 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 blah. And then you have this massive value chain under you. Like I can confidently tell you now that people that rely on my business or on Nutaria for survival, they are well over 1,000. Either they work for one of my suppliers, either they are a child of one of my suppliers, or the child of employee. You know, it trickles way, way, way down to a level that if you see it, you'll be shocked. One day I'll take you there.
And I would love to go and make a brilliant documentary. But just one more question before we wrap this up.
Yeah.
Experience learners' lessons. mistakes gives us lessons.
Yes.
So this is your opportunity to share some lessons that you have learned for entrepreneurs that inspire or aspire
Yeah.
to follow in your footsteps.
Yes.
What would you say is one or two lessons that any entrepreneur?
That's a tough one, eh?
I know.
That's a very difficult one because I've made all mistakes, most mistakes, from registering a company. Trust me, I've made many mistakes, but I think the biggest one that I'll share today, some I'll share some other day, of course, but the biggest one that I'll share today is that we need to diversify on our operations. One, on our suppliers, on our customers, on our product offering. You can't rely on one thing and one thing alone. If you have one product, at least you have multiple customers. If you have one customer, at least you have multiple products or multiple customers. Diversify a little bit. I've learned that the hard way. To a point where we almost went under because you rely on this one guy to pay you and he doesn't pay. What are you going to do? That's one of the lessons that I think that we need to be important. We need to learn as entrepreneurs. Because sometimes the money feels good, like, oh wow, we are making money now, but you only have one limited space to operate in. Secondly, I would say the idea of not seeing it through. It's not a mistake. You can say it's a mistake or a lesson, but yeah, the idea of not seeing it through. Whatever you do, you need to see it through to the end. It might not be in the same fashion that you envisage it. Allow it to evolve with time, because the way you envision, let's say, this channel of yours, have evolved with time. Because the way that you saw it in the beginning, maybe you wanted to do this, maybe you wanted to do that, but you need to allow it to give birth to its own ideas and evolve and become something new. There's big companies like the Kodak that used to sell film. The film, they refuse to evolve. They refuse to go to the digital age. No one now is taking film, photos. Maybe the 2000s won't know what I'm talking about, but no one is doing that anymore it's one of the biggest. If you go to business school, it's one of the biggest lessons that you are taught. Don't get your idea to be stuck on one thing. Let it evolve. Maybe as you move on further on, you get your sweeter spot. But as you move and evolve, the company that evolves is a company that stands the test of time. That's what I would say.
All right, finally, is there anything that you would like to share that I might have missed?
What I can share is that, I always encourage people to do the things that scare them, venture into that space. Because, yes, it's scary, but if you don't do it, then there's nothing as painful as seeing somebody execute your idea that you had for a while, that you failed to execute, and they execute it in a worst possible manner that you can think. You sit there in the corner and be like, if you had 10 left. You do know when you watch soccer, there's always that guy that says, kick, just, or rugby, always say, come to this angle, do that. But, because they didn't execute their own visions and their own ideas and their own ambitions. They're trying to live through somebody else that is really doing it. So that's what I would say. You need to just do it, man. That's it.
Thendo, thank you very much. Abrasive Conversations owe you big time, man. Thank you for taking time out.
You're welcome, Jay.